Okay, you are not going to believe the day I had. I mean it. It started with flying hot dogs, yeah, flying hot dogs, and somehow ended with me in the middle of a full-blown riot. I was literally trapped.
No, you heard that right. That's actually where this all began. Me physically kicking a grown man out of my gas station because he was using his lunch as a weapon. And you know what the crazy part is? That was just the opening act.
So, just as I'm catching my breath, the door slams open. This woman just barrels in, completely terrified, screaming her head off, looking over her shoulder like the devil himself is chasing her. And she's yelling that a mob, an actual real-life mob, wants to kill her. And why? Because of a tiny little music player. And she's holding on to it like it's a winning lottery ticket and a life raft all rolled into one. This little white box is the source of all this chaos. Her knuckles are bone white, her eyes are just wide with pure panic. She wasn't just scared. She honestly believed her life was about to end. So I look past her, right, through the big glass windows of the station, and my stomach just hits the floor. She wasn't exaggerating at all. It was a sea of people, their faces all twisted with this primal rage, and they're sprinting across the parking lot, coming right for us. So to really understand the insanity of that moment, we have to rewind just a few minutes. You need to hear how my day started. And it all started with a guy I called Bad Charlie. I mean, it was a totally normal Black Friday morning shift. It was quiet, the fluorescent lights are humming, you can smell the stale coffee in the roller grill. There was absolutely nothing to suggest that total pandemonium was about to break loose. So, Bad Charlie. He was one of our regulars, and by regular, I mean he was regularly a massive pain. Just this older guy, always grumpy, but, usually harmless. We called him Bad Charlie, but it was almost affectionate. Almost. For reasons I will truly never, ever comprehend, Charlie decided that this morning, the hot dogs were not for eating. Oh no, they were projectiles, and I was his target. He just starts grabbing them and whipping them right over the counter at my head.
Right, so I'd had it. I march out from behind the counter, grab him by his jacket, and just escort him out the door. Told him not to come back. I remember wiping mustard off my shirt and thinking, well, that's my weird story for the day. If only I knew.
So with that one little problem solved, I was immediately faced with a much, much bigger one. That mob was getting closer, fast, and the woman behind me was getting more and more hysterical. So what was really going on here? Turns out a local electronics store was doing one of those Black Friday charity giveaways. A few iPods for a good cause. The only problem was hundreds of people showed up, and when the store ran out, the crowd they got ugly. This woman, she'd gotten one of the last ones, and the mob decided she didn't deserve it. The first person hit the door, and then another. And then suddenly fists are just hammering on the glass. The entire storefront was shaking. The sound was just deafening. All this shouting from outside mixed with the woman's terrified screams inside. We were totally trapped.
My mind was just racing. I mean, I could call the cops, but would they even get here in time? I looked at the screaming woman, at the furious mob, and then my eyes landed on the hot dog roller. And an idea, a completely insane, unhinged idea, just sparked in my brain. And that's when it all clicked. These two completely separate, totally bizarre events from my morning, they were about to crash into each other in the most unexpected way possible. My Bad Charlie problem and my iPod mob problem, they were on a collision course. So here was the plan. It was simple and it was stupid. Step 1, grab every single hot dog left on that roller grill. Step 2, glance outside and see him, Bad Charlie, still just fuming in the parking lot. Step 3, take a deep breath, unlock the door and pull it open just a tiny crack. And step 4, hurl that entire armful of greasy hot dogs right into the crowd. And for just a second, one beautiful, silent second, it actually worked. The pounding stopped, the entire mob just froze, totally confused. They see these hot dogs just like raining down on them. And then their eyes follow the arc of the throw, right back to the original hot dog hurler himself, Bad Charlie. And just like that, the mob had a new target. A collective roar went up and they took off. Not after the woman, not after the iPod, but after the grumpy old man they clearly assumed had just assaulted them with lukewarm sausages. They chased him right out of the parking lot and into the dark. I slammed the door, threw the lock, and just slid down to the floor, gasping for air.
The woman with the iPod was just staring at me, then at the now empty parking lot, and then back at me, completely speechless. It was absolute insanity. But you know what? Sometimes the only way to fight insanity is with a little more insanity.
I never saw Bad Charlie again. The woman bought a soda, mumbled thanks, and left. And I, the gas station manager, was just left there, alone in the quiet, smelling the faint scent of chaos and victory. It's a wild story for sure, but it really shows you something about mob mentality, doesn't it? How a crowd can get fixated on one thing and how easily you can redirect all that rage with something as absurd as a handful of flying hot dogs.